stars.
Hello, this is Leah Whitehorse from Astrology with the cosmic forecast for November 2013. We have a big month coming up. The UK has just been battered by a storm named after St Jude, and St Jude is the patron saint of the hopeless and despaired, and also the patron saint of the impossible. I thought this was quite symbolic of what's happening at the moment. If you feel a lack of hope, a sense of despair, or feel like things are never going to change, well, hold on to your hats, because November 2013 is about to blow away all of those old thoughts. Impossible acts come under the realm of Uranus, and on the 1st of November, Uranus and Pluto will complete the fourth of a series of 7 squares, which began in 2012 and will complete in 2015. Now, squares are tense aspects that demand some kind of action is taken. And out of interest, freak weather is also associated with this Uranus-Pluto square. The Uranus-Pluto square is about change on a collective level. With Uranus in Aries and Pluto in Capricorn, we have the demand for revolution and fight for freedom, which is Uranus in Aries, and the breaking down of or elimination of conventional and traditional systems. Pluto has a connection to wealth, so there is also a demand for redistribution of wealth, which is driven by a humanitarian perspective. Pluto is the ruler of the sign Scorpio, and this sign is really being hit with a great deal of energy at the moment. Therefore, it's no surprise that we're seeing some seriously Scorpionic themes coming up in the news recently. One that really caught my eye was the story about the German Prime Minister and her phone being tapped by US spies, and also the possibility that millions of French have also had their phones tapped. And Merkel, the German Prime Minister, said that this is sowing the seeds of distrust. And this is something we all need to look at, because Scorpio is about trust. Typically, we associate this sign with sex and sexual magnetism. And for an intimate relationship to work, it's about being naked on all levels, physically, emotionally, spiritually, in order to bond with our partner. And this then can become a transcendent experience. So with the emphasis on Scorpio at the moment, whether you have a partner or not, this is about allowing yourself to unfold into the truth. It's working out the kinks in your psyche that you try to hide away from others. The question is, can you speak your truth and be comfortable with that? It's about learning to trust. Despite of, or even because of what's happening in the wider world at the moment, we can't afford to get into suspicion and fear of betrayal. Scorpio is asking, what does it take for you to be able to trust? On the 3rd of November, we have a solar eclipse, which is also a new moon. It's an amped up new moon with bells on. It's a solar eclipse which will be in Scorpio, and where there'll be a group of planets gathered there. Retrograde Mercury, the Sun, the Moon, Saturn and the North Node will all trigger this Uranus-Pluto square. And Pluto, don't forget, is the ruler of Scorpio. With Mercury retrograde in Scorpio, it's been a time for us to think deeply about our own truth. It's been about tapping into our inner detective in order to get to the bottom of what we truly know about ourselves. Mercury retrograde is a time to go inwards. And in Scorpio, it's kind of like opening a trapdoor that you never knew was there and stepping down into the darkness. With the solar eclipse occurring in Scorpio, the eclipse gathers all this energy and brings something surprising and unexpected. It's like something is lurking in those shadows down in the basement. But it isn't a time to be afraid. It's about gathering all your strength and power and facing whatever it is you need to face. Because this in itself will empower you and help you to move forwards again. In the solar eclipse chart, we also have a yod, and the base is formed by the eclipse itself, which is sextile to Mars, and both are quincunx to Uranus. A yod is also called a finger of God. It points the way. So there's something here about looking at where we can take action in order to change. The eclipse has themes of revelation, sudden enlightenment, a flash of inspiration, or a sense that suddenly it's all come clear. It's a moment of truth. On the 5th of November, Venus moves into Capricorn, which emphasizes taking a pragmatic and conventional view to your finances. Conserve what you have and start building a rainy day fund if you don't have one already. In relationships, it tends to suggest a serious tone where you work on your commitments and your responsibilities together. Venus in Capricorn is about having a mature attitude towards your relationship. With all the background energy in Scorpio, Venus in Capricorn may also manifest as looking at how much you're investing in your relationship emotionally and financially. And this energy is perfect for planning long-term goals together, or for figuring out if your relationship has the staying power to be long-term. Jupiter turns retrograde in Cancer on the 7th of November. Jupiter is about joy, opportunities, growth, and abundance. So when he turns retrograde, he really embraces self-improvement. It's about inner growth, and in Cancer it may be the perfect time just to spend more time at home with your children, family, or just being at home. Jupiter retrograde also suggests taking a more philosophical approach to life, and if things have been challenging, then this retrograde may help to take the edge off that, just by helping you gain a new perspective about what really matters. Mercury turns direct finally on the 10th of November. So after all the pressure at the beginning of the month, you might be raring to go. But it's best to be like Mercury and move forward slowly. Wait till he's out of the shadow zone, which is at the end of the month. So just take some small steps and just feel your way ahead. On the 13th of November, Neptune is also turning direct in Pisces. The positive side of Neptune is that he's compassionate and imaginative and loves unconditionally. The dark side to this planet is self-deception, illusion, and delusion. Whilst Neptune's been retrograde, he's been working on a very deep inner level. Your intuition and dreams may have been giving you subtle signals. When he turns direct, sometimes it's easy for us to stick our heads back in the sand and try to pretend things aren't there. So now that Neptune is turning direct, it's important to take what you've learned on an inner level and bring it out into the open. It's about staying in touch with your intuitive self so that you can see through the illusions of life. Neptune moving forward is also a wonderful time to make an act of kindness. So a donation of your time or money to a charity, helping a friend, or just paying it forward. These are perfect ways to honour Neptune's change of direction. We have a full moon in Taurus on the 17th of November. So this is a time to look back over the last 2 weeks since the solar eclipse and see what has kind of been brought into fruition. Generally, the full moon in Taurus is about looking at what makes you feel solid and stable, what makes you feel comfortable and content. You might like to use this time to get your finances in order, or spend some time on arts and crafts and look at what you consider to be valuable in your life. Embrace your physical senses, or even just slow down, take your time. The full moon in Taurus is about taking stock of your life. In the full moon chart, Venus is also going to be conjunct to Pluto. So once again, we're getting this trigger with the Uranus-Pluto Square. So there might be some intense feelings around relationships and money. And Neptune is also going to be opposite to Pallas. And normally Pallas is very clear-headed, but here she's feeling a little confused. Maybe you just want to keep the peace, but be careful that you don't give in to something that you might regret later on. Chiron moves direct on the 19th of November, so he and Neptune are kind of back in tandem again. Chiron in Pisces is helping with our soul healing journey. Now that he's moving forwards again, it's about reclaiming your sense of wholeness and completeness. With the surprise revelations of the eclipse, Perhaps you now have some extra pieces of the puzzle, which will give you a more complete picture. A very simple way of honouring Chiron in Pisces is about sending out healing or healing thoughts to those in need. The Sun enters Sagittarius on the 22nd of November, which really helps to ease off some of this very intense energy that's been around this month. Sagittarius is an enthusiastic sign, so it's about getting out there and interacting with the world. This would be a great time to start considering new horizons. Where do you want to go in life? Where haven't you been? Maybe you want to take a course or travel. Sun in Sagittarius is about asking us to branch out. As the last of the fire signs and ruled by Jupiter, Sagittarius gives us a vision of what could be and the self-belief and faith to pursue it. As we reach the end of the month, Mercury finally moves out of his shadow zone on the 27th of November, so then it's full steam ahead. Face your inner shadows, find your truth, remove suspicion and distrust, focus on inner healing and self-belief. It's a really intense month of revelation, change and inspiration, and the impossible becoming possible. Lastly, I decided to choose one tarot card. I used my Mythic tarot deck just to get a final feel of the month, a final message. And the card that I chose was the Nine of Wands. I'm just going to see if you can see this picture here. So we've got the stormy weather going on there. Now, the Nine of Wands typically is associated with making that one final push to reach your goal. It's just one more obstacle. So the motto of this card really is, we shall overcome. So I think with this card, the general feel is to keep going, to stay strong, and you will get there in the end.